Movie highlights here. Tapping in with another one. Make sure to like and sub. The protagonist of the movie is a high school student named Yoshiro Kamogawa. He spends most of his days aimlessly and is pretty average at studies. As far as popularity is concerned, Yoshiro is ignored by almost all the girls in his school, as they believe he is a dork. But one day, everything changes. Yoshiro proceeds to climax fantasizing about different girls. However, he has a hard time choosing one particular girl as Yoshiro is obsessed about finding the girl of his destiny. He had already met that girl when they were inside their mother's wombs in a hospital. They communicated with each other telepathically and promised to meet soon using a special jingle, which is their secret code. Now, images of his soulmate come into his mind in fragments. Yoshiro sees her waving at him, and then the two kiss on their tiptoes. Back in the present, as Yoshiro thinks of her and is about to climax, a rare cosmic phenomenon takes place in outer space and a shaft of light shines on him. He is startled but doesn't think much of it. Elsewhere, Yoshiro's classmate Miyuko Hirano is also dreaming about having coitus, hence, she, too, is hit by the strange light. The next morning, when Yoshiro sits down for breakfast with his mother and her boyfriend, he is strangely able to hear their internal thoughts. Yoshiro is horrified by the lewd and lascivious thoughts of his mother and her boyfriend, so he leaves his breakfast and heads out for school, still puzzled about everything. At school, he is again bombarded by everyone's internal thoughts. He telepathically hears his teacher admit to herself that she wants to be the hottest female in school while she disciplines female students for wearing short skirts. Yoshiro is soon joined by his best friend, and the two boys watch in wonder as a beautiful girl named Xray arrives there. Xray is a new student and Yoshiro is instantly smitten by her beauty. Suddenly, a gust of wind lifts Xray's skirt, revealing her undergarments. This gives Yoshiro and his male friend an instant and very visible hard-on. Miyuko watches it transpire from nearby and decides to embarrass the two boys. This obviously enrages Yoshiro, so he starts berating her in his mind. To his astonishment, he realizes that Miyuko can also read people's minds when she counters his remark telepathically. In class, the teacher introduces Xray to everyone. Yoshiro again fawns over her and he starts to wonder if Xray is the girl of his destiny. The scene then cuts to Tokyo University Professor Asami and his assistant Ms. Akiyama discussing the rumors about psychic activity in the town. It turns out Professor Asami has been researching extrasensory perception or ESP for a while now, because of which he had become an object of ridicule among his colleagues. Elsewhere, after school, the confused Yoshiro buys a book about ESP, which includes topics like telepathy, telekinesis, teleportation, and clairvoyance. Later, on his way home, Yoshiro stops by to meet his perverted older male friend named Taro. Taro owns a restaurant and spends his free time thinking about coitus. He introduces Yoshiro to adult toys and also reveals his telekinetic power, using which he can lift objects without physically touching them. However, strangely, Taro's power is only limited to sexual objects. The next day, Yoshiro decides to approach Xray, but on his way, he reads a fellow student Enomoto's mind and learns that he is planning to get naked in front of Xray and other girls. Yoshiro tries to stop him, but shockingly, Enomoto has the ability to teleport from one place to another. He goes directly inside the girls' locker room and exposes himself, but his plan fails terribly. Just then, Professor Asami and Ms. Akiyama confront the new psychics and gather them at his place. During the operation, it's revealed that Ms. Akiyama also has a strange psychic power. She has the power of precognition, which allows her to foresee the future of anyone who looks at her bra. The new psychics include Yoshiro, Teru, Enomoto, Miyuko, and another creepy student named Yabe. It's revealed that Yabe is clairvoyant, which gives him the ability to see through objects. Soon, Professor Asami introduces himself and explains that he has been researching ESP for a while now. He also reveals that Yoshiro and the others got their powers because of a cosmic phenomenon. It turns out they are not the first ones to acquire, especially 200 years ago in Duluth, Minnesota, there was another psychic awakening. Cosmic rays hit the city when the planets were aligned in a particular way and imparted these powers to some people. This time, similar cosmic rays hit Japan. Yoshiro and others got the ESP because they fit a certain criteria. First, they are virgins, they have never had coitus. Second, when the rays hit town, they all were aroused. Thirdly, they noticed their power. Asami claims that he and his research team have been trying to harness this energy from space for good. He also reveals that the psychics from the American town were killed by other evil psychics. This means that there are some other psychics in this town too, and they might abuse their powers. Asami tells the group that they must protect their town from Duluth's fate. Just then, Xray appears from the washroom and it's revealed that she is Professor Asami's daughter. The movie then cuts to the home of a ferry skipper named Akiko Kamiya, who has also acquired psychic power. She has recently come out as a lesbian and is on a mission to find herself a girlfriend. However, because everyone ignores her, she has started misusing her power to freeze other girls and take advantage of them. Later that night, someone dumps tens and hundreds of adult dolls in Yoshiro's high school. Professor Asami, Ms. Akiyama, and some detectives quickly arrive at the scene. Upon close inspection, Asami learns that someone has laced the dolls with an aphrodisiac. He collects a sample of the drug and instructs Ms. Akiyama to hide the news from Yoshiro and others to keep them from panicking. The next day, a new teacher joins Yoshiro's school. She is a Japanese-American woman named Mia Polnareff. Ms. Polnareff is very sex-positive, and in her first interaction with the students, she delivers a passionate speech. She says that Earth is in a crisis and people have lost hope. Hence, everyone should embrace love and be erotic. Later, Polnareff catches Yoshiro staring at Sei, so she approaches him and places her hand over his head. Lo and behold, she reads Yoshiro's memory and claims that she is the girl of his destiny before walking away with her two scantily clad female assistants. It turns out Polnareff is a psychic too. Meanwhile, after examining the sample from the adult doll, Professor Asami concludes that the substance is not from Earth. He fears that it could be part of the evil psychic's plan. In the next scene, we're taken to psychic lesbian Akiko's house, where a large group of high school girls emerge seemingly under some spell. They get on Akiko's ferry before heading off somewhere. Later, Akiko is seen standing by the river and blowing some mysterious powder over the entire town from her mouth. The next day, Teru accompanies Yoshiro and Miyuko to school after hearing about Ms. Polnareff and her erotic nature. To their surprise, they witness that all the students are dressed scantily. Soon, Ms. Polnareff walks up to the trio and, using her ability, she figures out that Miyuko and Teru too have psychic powers. Not only the high schoolers, the entire town is seemingly under some spell and they are walking around in their undergarments. Next, a group of female cosplayers take several innocent civilians hostage at the city hall. They threaten the city's mayor to fulfill their several demands or else they will hurt the hostages. Some of their demands are, love hotels should become free, nudist beaches should be legalized, the adult industry should be promoted, and so on. Soon, Professor Asami and Ms. Polnareff arrive at the scene and the latter demands to speak with the leader of the protesters. Just then, Akiko steps ahead and reveals that she's behind all this. She also reveals she has psychic powers and goes on a rant against greedy humans. Then, she orders her girls to attack Asami and the others. Suddenly, a mysterious woman appears and casts a spell on Akiko's army, instantly turning them into lifeless adult dolls. Akiko is taken aback and she immediately flees the scene. As everyone tries to make sense of what happened, the mysterious woman also disappears without introducing herself. After school, Sei and her friends walk past Akiko's house, unaware about the lurking danger. Sei's friends are spooked by the vibe of the house and they run away, but Akiko manages to kidnap Sei. Later, she also makes Miyuko her victim. In no time, the town spirals out of control. Everyone has suddenly become obsessed with coitus and they constantly have evil thoughts. Seeing all women in town wearing bikinis gives every male but Teru a constant hard-on. Unable to get it up, he is embarrassed, but Ms. Polnareff comforts him, saying that a man's value isn't just in his manhood. Next, Yoshiro gets a call from Sei and she asks him to meet in a garden. Just like his dream, Yoshiro watches Sei run up to him with her long beautiful legs, singing the jingle and waving her hands. She thanks him for helping her father with his ESP research before leaning in for a kiss on her tiptoe and asking him for intercourse. Yoshiro is taken aback as he didn't imagine Sei to be so forward. Suddenly, the mysterious woman from earlier in the movie appears and she turns Sei into an adult doll, much to Yoshiro's horror. Professor Asami and the others arrive at the scene and the woman introduces herself as Julie Babcock, a psychic from Duluth. She reveals that some psychics survived the Duluth massacre and they went into hiding. Julie is a descendant of those psychics. She has come all the way to Japan to prevent another tragedy like that of her home city. Meanwhile, a detective tracks down Akiko's house and learns that she has been kidnapping girls from her neighborhood. She reports it to Professor Asami, and the latter quickly comes up with a plan. He sends Yoshiro disguised as a girl to lure the kidnapper towards him while the others watch from hiding. Unfortunately, Akiko spots Ms. Akiyama behind a pole and proceeds to hypnotize her. But before she can do so, the psychic lady reads her future by flashing her bra. Akiko immediately runs away, and Ms. Akiyama reveals that she is headed towards the city hall. Wasting no time, Professor Asami and his group head for the city hall and there, they come across all the kidnapped girls in a passed-out state. They also find multiple girls claiming to be the real Sei in the hallway. The creepy psychic Yabe uses his clairvoyance to reveal that they are all clones. After a while, Akako finally appears with her army of scantily dressed girls, but Julie immediately turns some of them into dolls. Furious, Akako sends more girls to attack Yoshiro and others before running away. As the group deals with the army of girls, Ms. Polnareff grabs Yoshiro and escorts him to safety. Yoshiro gullibly follows her, but she takes him to the stage and traps him inside an enclosure. Ms. Polnareff then opens the curtains, revealing 3 life-size cutouts of pregnant women. It turns out that she has held Yoshiro captive inside the womb of one of the cutouts. Next, it's revealed that Sei and Miyuko have been held captive in the womb of the other 2 cutouts. Yoshiro discovers this and speaks to the girls, who are distraught about their situation. To calm herself down, Miyuko starts singing the special jingle. Taken aback, Yoshiro finally realizes that the girl of his destiny is none other than Miyuko. He tells her that it's him she promised to meet after taking birth. With this, the 2 cry tears of joy, and Yoshiro finally sees the face of Miyuko in the dream sequence running up to him with long legs. However, before they could kiss, Ms. Polnareff interrupts, causing him to snap out of his dream. She then claims that she taught that song to Miyuko, much to Yoshiro's astonishment. Meanwhile, Professor Asami and his group turn Akako's army into dolls with the help of Julie. With nowhere to go, Akako finally accepts defeat but warns them that her master, Ms. Polnareff, will teach them a lesson. Julie then purifies her soul, and it's revealed that Akako was only a puppet acting under Ms. Polnareff's spell. With this information, Professor Asami finally figures out that the cunning Polnareff has the ability to control people's memories. She deletes, rewrites, transplants memories, and even manipulates them to suit her needs. Meanwhile, Ms. Polnareff orders her henchwomen to escort Sei and Miyuko away. As she tries to get close to Yoshiro, Professor Asami and others arrive. When Teru questions her motives, Ms. Polnareff asserts that she is doing all this to wipe out humanity from Earth. She hates humans because they violate nature and are greedy. Only God's chosen will remain. Ms. Polnareff then claims that Yoshiro is the chosen one and expresses her love for him. She also reveals that she can't control his memory because of her feelings for him. Just then, Julie interrupts her speech and tries to purify her soul, but to her astonishment, Polnareff has no evil intentions. And in the blink of an eye, she overpowers Julie and knocks her out. The other psychics attack Ms. Polnareff, but she easily defeats them and erases their memory. She then turns to Yoshiro and asks him to come with her, threatening to kill him otherwise. At first, the naive schoolboy refuses, but when Ms. Polnareff mentions that the Earth's fate depends on him, he agrees. Following this, she takes him to a nursery where she has turned Sei, Miyuko and herself into children. Polnareff says that she wants to be a child again because they are pure souls unlike adults. However, Yoshiro refuses to become a child and insists he'd rather climax and have coitus as an adult. His erotic speech soon disgusts Polnareff, as she wants to be the girl of his destiny, not a plaything. Hence, she yells in agony and decides to leave for good. After Polnareff leaves, the town returns back to normal and everyone thanks Yoshiro for making it happen. He is no less than an avenger to them. The next day, when Yoshiro reaches school, he finds all the girls singing his favorite jingle. Confused, he wonders how everyone knows about it. The movie ends as a narration reveals that Yoshiro's mother actually sat next to numerous pregnant women in a tram after she exited the hospital. From her womb, Yoshiro telepathically communicated with all the unborn girls present there, hence, all of them are his soulmates now. Don't forget to like and sub to the channel.